Hello and welcome to another Hacking with Friends.
I'm Kody. This is my friend Tim, a computer science student and friend who's going to show us today a little bit about PowerShell scripting, as well as possibly a little bit about a new Hack5 tool I happen to hear about.
Yeah, so before we get into that, today we're going to talk about kind of pick up where we left off with creating scripts in PowerShell, and we're going to go on to create our own script and our own function that actually grabs your browser history from the internet.
Cool. So last time we covered a lot. We went through PowerShell, but I was really particularly interested in the scripting tool that you showed at the end.
The ISE?
The ISE. That seems so much more useful than kind of the tools you're given by default. Sometimes in Linux to write like bash scripts, you're popping open, like just a text editing window. It's kind of cool that there's something out there for PowerShell that's even kind of a little bit more thought out than that for people that might be writing PowerShell scripts.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. Microsoft, I think, puts a lot of work into their IDEs in particular when it comes to Visual Studio and ISE and Visual Basic. So yeah, it's very user-friendly.
Cool. All right. Well, so in order to follow along with this, do we need anything? Do we need Windows Pro, or can we just do the Windows Home Edition still?
For this, Windows Home Edition is fine. I'm specifically going to look up Mozilla Firefox browsing history.
Okay.
This will presumably work with other browsers, but we're going into that database. So the specific variables and stuff are relevant to Firefox.
Cool. And a lot of the stuff we've also been taking and turning into either USB rubber ducky payloads, Wi-Fi duck payloads. We've just been making cool human interface device attack payloads with this. So maybe if we come up with something cool, we could create another payload that's based off of some of these scripts that we make.
Yeah. All right, so to get started, let's open PowerShell ISE.
Awesome. So also, you mentioned last time that if I look for ISE, yep, PowerShell ISE, I should open it as an administrator.
Oh yeah, I didn't do that. I should do that.
I keep forgetting with Windows, you always have to. It's like sudoing. You have to say yes.
It's like sudoing, but for every command. So it's like a super user session, I suppose. Okay. Actually, I think before we start writing out our script, we should kind of get an idea of what our script is going to do.
That's a good idea.
So let's go through all of the functions our script is going to do, but just in a regular PowerShell window.
Okay.
And then we can take all that and compose it into a script.
All right.
All right, so let's just open a regular PowerShell window. But yes, we will definitely get back to the ISE. Okay, so in order to start this, we're going to need, in order to get the history from Firefox, we're going to need to open a SQLite database.
Okay.
So do you know what SQL is?
I know it's a database format, but I don't know much else about it.
That's almost all you need to know.
Okay, cool.
So we're going to be writing a very few, maybe 3 or so SQL commands today. But in order to access the database and look up the information inside of it, we need to download a module that allows us to do that.
Okay.
So in order to do that, we need to use the commandlet find module. And then what you can do is you can just type in SQL in quotes and put stars on both sides, so it'll look for every module with the keyword SQL inside of it.
Okay, so the asterisk just means like anything before. So is that like a regex or?
Kind of like a regex. I don't know if full regex applies to the strings in PowerShell, but the asterisk definitely does. I'm going to change my font size.
Yeah, mine is tiny as well.
That might be too big. One more. Okay, so let's do find module SQL. It's going to take a minute because it's going to look up.
On mine it said I needed to install something.
Just a find module? Oh, I think you do need to install that, yeah. Okay. That's just a package manager.
Okay, cool. Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, I actually didn't realize there were quite so many.
Wow, yeah, that is a lot. A whole lot.
Yeah, okay, cool. So the one we're interested in, this one, called PS SQLite. So that's PowerShell SQLite. So in order to install that particular package, we can just copy this.
I modified the search. I just did PS SQL, and then it came up as there's only 2 options.
Yeah, so all we need to do is we just need to do install module, tac name, and then PSSQ install like this.
Does name have to be capitalized?
No. It's just convention.
Okay.
Did you get yours installed?
I'm just copying and pasting.
Oh, that works.
Cool. Installed. And so right now,
Yeah, mine is already installed, so it didn't come up with anything. But you're gonna have to select yes.
Yes to all.
Or yes to all, which is yeah. What were you gonna ask?
Oh, I was going to ask. So aside from Firefox history, what are some other examples of where SQL is used?
Almost. I mean, the answer is an innumerable number of places. I mean, you can also do this in your Chrome history. Any application that's going to store a large amount of data or store a history or some kind of log is most likely going to be using a SQL database. They're ubiquitous throughout the computing world.
So everything from like personal records to okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, personal records to websites that keep track of their customers to your browsing history to stocks. I don't know. Almost anytime you want to store large amounts of data, it's going to be in a SQL database.
Okay, cool. So this is useful against a broad range of targets.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's take a look. Now that we have the PS SQLite module installed, let's import it into the current session with import module PS SQLite. Hopefully that should work.
I probably
PS. You might need to capitalize.
Yeah, I'll just copy and paste it from up here.
Okay.
I also didn't put it in strings. And
I don't think you need to because I didn't.
Okay.
But I could see it being something that's case sensitive.
Oh yeah, it doesn't like the quotes around it. Oh, that's right.
What? Import module. Try closing your closing and reopening the PowerShell session.
Okay. Nope.
See, cannot be loaded because running scripts is Oh, okay. So what you need to do is you need to change your execution policy. It's
okay.
not that it can't find the.
Couple things. First, how do I make this font much larger?
Right click at the top, and then properties, and then font.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
We'll make that big.
I have mine on like 22 or something.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, so how do I do that?
The commandlet set -execution policy -execute, and if you and then just type what's the best one? I think just bypass.
Okay.
And then press enter. And then press yes. And then now try running it again. All right, cool. It works.
All right, awesome.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that a dumb?
If I didn't know that, I would be on Stack Overflow right now, like getting angry at someone.
Yeah, that first blocks like a lot of things. Like even if you tried to write your own script and you try to run it, potentially that problem would still come up.
Love that it's one line to disable it.
Yep.
Helpful.
Mm-hmm. And strangely, you can actually disable. In a workaround way, there's a way you can disable it without being administrator.
Oh yeah, you used that in 2 streams ago.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to find the location of the SQLite database that our internet history is stored in.
Okay.
So bear with me here because the path is a little strange, but for Firefox, it's normally stored in this C users Tim laptop, which is kind of like your home directory. And then let's cd in a folder called app data. And then in a folder called roaming. I know these paths are long. And then Mozilla Firefox. All right, so if we look inside the Mozilla Firefox folder, we have several folders. One of them is called Profiles. We're going to go there. And then inside of profiles, we have this very strangely named folder, which might have a different name for you. It's called, mine is called QZWJRZKI.default.
All right, so I'm in just Windows.
Okay, CD space / Whoa. Press enter.
Okay, now let's see. So I can do to LS?
CD. Go to CD.
CD just does the same thing.
Oh, I think there's a way you can go to your home folders. Do CD and then a dot. With just one dot. Enter. Oh, CD space and then do a tilde. Okay, there you are.
Okay, cool. All right. Useful. Not very used to navigating file systems in Windows.
I was like, it's one of those characters. Is either a dot or a tilde or a slash.
All
okay,
right.
So go ahead and type in a CD and then go to app data / roaming / Mozilla / Firefox / profiles. And just enter there. Okay, now ls, real quick and see what's inside. Okay, you have another weirdly named one, which is fine. Go ahead and CD into your weird thing.
The first one?
Yeah, the first one. And then just look inside of that.
Times.json.
That's it? That's all that's inside, is it?
That's all that's there.
What? Look at mine. All of my SQL database files are in here.
There's another one, the whatever default release.
Default release. Try that one.
CD.
See, my cookies are stored in here.
Gross. Oh, that's an L. LS? Whoa!
Hey, okay, there you go.
It was in the second one. That's weird.
Yeah, that is strange.
Ew, what's mini dumps?
Mini dumps? Okay, now look.
Wait, sorry. We got to go big.
Slightly bigger? Yeah.
There we go.
Now look for a SQLite called places.sqlite. That's enough.
How do you want me to look for it?
I think you can, when you're in default, you can do GCI.
Can I cat stuff? How do I read out the contents of a file?
Well, for a SQLite file, you will need the SQL thing. But I would do GCI * places *. And then there you go. So you can see that there's a SQLite file called places.sqlite, and that is where all of your history is stored.
Interesting. Okay, so I've learned a couple things. First, how to get to the main home directory for yourself.
Yeah.
And then second, that all this is just stored in a SQL database that's just right here. It's anybody can navigate to it.
Yep, that's totally true. So if someone has access to your computer internally, they can just go directly to all of these SQL Lite files and look at all of your history. Okay, so in order to look inside of this SQLite database, we need to use that module we installed earlier. So
wait, what happens if we just read the data? What does it look like?
Try it.
How do we do it?
I guess you could try catting it. I don't know if it would make sense.
Oh my god, that's great though. I can read it. It's not, so the data is here.
Yeah, and it's probably just like commas and stuff.
Yeah, but it's not human readable. So like there's so much gibberish and stuff. Some of this is sort of encoded. I can see some, is this backwards?
It's backwards.
Wait, so talking about human readability, it's like the information is there, provided you've got like a mirror and you're willing to read this information backwards.
That's pretty strange.
That's really funny. Okay, all right, so we can see some Wikipedia stuff. I did, in fact, we can see some Verona stuff.
Ooh.
Okay, so just not even using a tool. This is crazy annoying to read.
Yes, it's very annoying to read. So most of what we're going to do now will make it easy to search through and parse the history.
Great, because yeah, this is, I mean, I could read it, but again, a lot of this is straight up backwards. So, all right, that makes sense. So Even though I just want to rush to get right to the data, we can't yet, because if we try to just read this data, it's in a format that's meant to be useful for machines to store it and interpret it and query it, but not necessarily good for a person to be able to just dig through.
Yes, at least not with the right tool. Plain text is probably not the best way to look at a database. Because some entries can be, like paragraphs and paragraphs, and then some are just like one number.
Yeah.
So when you look at those next to each other, you really need some kind of software to see it better.
That makes sense.
Yeah. By the way, do you have Firefox currently running?
No, I don't.
Okay, good. Because if you have it currently running, the database will be locked.
Okay.
Which is just a protection SQL databases have in case two things try to access the database at the same time. They don't like override each other.
Yeah, wait, does this mean, no, I added it recently, but it's not running. I think
okay,
I closed
cool.
It.
All right. Okay, so let's try, if you already imported the module, the PS SQLite module, you should be able to use the invoke SQL query commandlet. Next one.
How do you do the next one?
You just press tab again.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, that's cool. Wait, so I always use autocomplete, and if you've ever used Linux, then one of the best things about the terminal is that autocompletes commands and other certain things that it's expecting you to do. So one thing that is then nice about PowerShell is not only does it do that, but it lets you cycle through suggestions. So if it guesses the wrong thing, you can just press keeping it. Wait, does Linux do that too? And I just haven't noticed.
Probably.
I hate that, but I like it. I just I'm gonna have to go try now. Okay, cool. All right, cool.
All right. Okay, so now that we're doing that, first what we're gonna do is we need to copy this ridiculously long path to our SQLite database. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a quick and dirty kind of copy. Control C. I'm going to store it in a variable called db for database. /places.sqlite. See what I did there?
Okay, $db. Okay.
And then the whole path, and then at the end, places.sqlite. There's a lot of text on your screen.
There really is a lot. Yeah. I'm just going to copy and paste too. Copy, and are there quotes around it? Yes, there is.
And then /places.sqlite. Okay, then just press enter. So now let's use that invoke SQL query. And we're going to use a TAC data source, which tells us where the location of the database we want to open is. And that's obviously going to be our database variable that we created. And then the next argument is query. So this is where we insert SQL code.
What do you mean?
So this is the PS SQLite module allows us to create SQL queries on databases through PowerShell. But in order to query a database or look through a database, we need to use the language of SQL.
Okay.
But it's very simple, so don't panic. All we're going to do right now is we're going to do a command called pragma_stats, and that's just going to show us some general information about the database and all of the tables that it includes. Pragma_stats. There you go. Okay, so what you can see here is inside of the database there are multiple tables. And we want to know which table specifically we're looking for because we want to know where to find the history. So as you can see, there's all these different tables. There's bookmarks that you have. There are visits, host, origins, keywords. The one we're interested in is in places. So it's places. That's the one that's going to have all of the places you've ever visited.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, those are all technically part of the same database, the same table. The way SQL works is it can stitch together tables in certain ways. We're just all we need to be concerned about is the top one.
Okay.
I mean, they're technically all the same. These are just different, like overlapping fields.
Okay.
But they're all Moz places are all the same table, and that's what we're looking for is this Moz places table. So what we can do is, instead of having the pragma stats query, what we can do is we can do, let's see, get from if we do a select star from, oh, there should be a space right there, from mouse places. Okay, so this select blank from blank is a very common, almost universal SQL query, where we basically say get something that fits this description from this location. So all we're doing is we're saying select everything from the moz places table.
Okay.
So if we run that, you can now see all of my Firefox history.
Not mine though.
Fill with one argument.
But I'm sure that it's just this, the fact that I made a typo, but now I can't.
So, yeah, there needs to be a space.
Yep.
There you go. And there's all your history.
Why is it back? Oh, reverse host. Why is that an entry, reverse host?
I don't know.
Okay. Okay. All right. So we can see all the stuff I'm interested in. All right. Let's see. What have I done? Okay. Looked at makemyday.com. Interesting. I've made some Google searches. Okay. What do I do when you're what to do when you're Veronis? That was a good search. I remember that. I tried to log into my Bubba account. All right. Wow. Okay. So there's a lot of stuff in here, and aside from the weird fact that it's stored backwards, it stores the full URL.
It shows how often, like how many times you visited it, the last time that you visited it at, yeah, and the URL and the description of the website.
I was looking up a yellow-headed water monitor on Wikipedia.
What even is that?
It's fascinating, and I would show you, but it's part of my private browsing history.
Okay.
But yeah, no, this is interesting. So all these different fields here that we get returned, we can query these then individually?
Individually, yeah.
Okay.
So let's say we wanted to just look at the URLs. Like we don't want all this information. We can do select, instead of having the select star, we can do a select the field name URL. So select URL from moz places, and then it'll just give me a list of all of the URLs that I visited.
Wait, it's lowercase URL?
It's whatever it shows
Whoa,
up on as a
okay,
table.
cool. So that's way more compressed information. I can see, I was looking at the Varanus. Oh, that's cool. That's an animal that looks like Varanus. Yeah. I just got it just earlier. But okay, cool.
Okay.
All my curiosity on display. So this is generally a database that people, again, if they just tried to look at it without having the context of using that module, it would just look like a bunch of gibberish, a bunch of half backwards gibberish. In fact,
let's do one more. I'm going to do select URL from moz places where I'm going to search the ones that I've visited more than twice. So let's see, this is visit count. So select URL from all places, and then you can do this where terminology, where visit count is greater than 2. Or greater than 1, I suppose. And then see all of these URLs are all of the websites that I visited more than once.
Whoa, okay, so that's interesting. So, so with this, we can not only see which websites they've been to, but we can also see exactly how many times they visited a particular URL. So,
and we can also we can tailor our SQL query to only show us those like results that have visited over a certain amount of times. Or you can when we go through the whole database, any of these fields, we can filter through these fields. So we can say where visit count is greater than 0, where it's not hidden, where the title is longer than 10 characters, or whatever you want. So that's kind of the power of SQL, because it allows you to search through this huge amount of data with some very few keywords.
Okay. Yeah, and if you haven't worked with SQL databases before, then it's important to know that the way we typically view them is with queries. So we don't just look at the plain text, we don't dig through them. We ask the SQL database specific structured queries, and it responds with the information we're looking for. It's how a lot of databases work, and it's a good way to get used to the way that we generally will, if we encountered a database online, basically be able to pull information out of it without just reading the entire thing.
Yeah, I mean, with SQL Query, you can read the entire thing. You can always do what we did, where we said select star from table,
Right.
and that just prints out the whole table. But even then, it shows it in a nice, orderly way, which is much better than, it's like trying to open like an executable file in like a notepad. Like you'll get something, but it's not useful.
Yeah, and another thing that this sort of database queries are useful for is taking advantages of websites that maybe have unsanitized input. So if you have a website where there's a SQL database behind it, and you're able to put in something with like an escape character and then start running code on that target, one of the most common things you can do with that is just a database table dump, where you just try to see, you just try to see if you can do a drop table and just show everything inside the database and see if there's anything juicy there. And then once you know there's a vulnerability, you can follow up with that and start trying to pull more information out. So it's a really cool way of starting to explore access to data that maybe has been left open unintentionally. But if you don't know anything about how to get into this data, if you're someone who just is just trying to open the file and see what's in there, then it can be a little bit confusing. So hopefully for anyone who's a beginner with SQL queries, this will be a little bit helpful for not just this, but maybe if they wanted to get into finding vulnerabilities, learning about table drops and that sort of security.
And SQL language, it's hard to call it a language, but I guess it is a language, is very easy to get into. So it doesn't take there's not a very large barrier to entry, and then you can kind of just let it snowball, kind of experiment around and easily write up fancier and fancier queries.
Okay,
and
that's
SQL
really
commands.
Cool.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, it's not like learning Python or C++ where you have to devote months or years to learning it. It's something you can learn in like, I don't know, a week or two. I mean, I'm sure there are many more advanced things you can do after that, but you can generally get the whole gist in like a week or two.
So I have a question then. Just as an example, you in the last query you selected everything where there was more than one visit, but there's also a date field. So is it easy that it's also probably fairly simple to just create something where it only shows URL either from a certain date or after a certain date or before a certain date? Is that also okay? So that's another point of using SQL.
If you notice though, the date is in Linux time.
It's a really big number. Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, that number right there is the number. That's when I visited GOG.com. Relative to the number of seconds that have passed since January 1st, 1970.
And it has been proposed by many experts that we as computer scientists move on to Tim time, which is an updated standard which has many advantages.
Including much lower numbers, so they can fit in smaller integer variables. And it starts exactly 50 years after Linux time on January 1st, 2020.
Tim time. Think about it. Yeah, it's 2020. It's time to move on. Linux time, Tim time.
It's shorter to say too.
It is. Yeah. And we'll get into Tim random another time, because that's another great standard we're trying to push on the industry here.
All right. Okay. So, assuming you like this, let's move forward and create a script where we can customize it. So we can kind of add like a parameter where, say, we want to search for specific URLs or something like that.
Okay, but I have a question.
Yeah.
Does the Firefox password manager store any information in a SQL database?
Yes, it does. And you can but not in plain text.
Okay. Can we look at it though?
Do you want to try?
I mean, is it still in the... Yeah, let's take a look at it. I'm just curious to see...
Hold on. I know Chrome does. I'm not sure if Firefox does, but I would guess it does.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Let's. If you don't mind, let's just take a look.
Do you mind if I Google it?
No. Yeah, I'm just interested because I know we've done episodes on dumping Firefox and Chrome credentials, and you're right. I think that you were mentioning that Chrome doesn't store their password manager credentials, but let's find out. Because if we can see what's inside, it would be interesting to maybe see if we could script some of this just to show maybe what, if not the passwords themselves, what credentials are stored for particular URLs. If I wanted to fish them, it would be great to know all the different websites they have credentials on. That would be useful. Where does it store your information? Finding your profile without opening. Oh.
key 4 and logins.json. Let me. This is an old article, I think. So let's go look at
See if there's a key 4.
Yeah.
Cool.
There it is.
Ooh, okay, cool. That's interesting.
All right, let's change our database.
I'm sure that Firefox is smarter than this, but we just gotta try. You know, if we don't try, we don't know. By the way, Tim, I'm so sorry if this is all plain text.
Well, okay, no, it's fine because I don't use Firefox. That's
Okay.
my main web browser, so it should be fine.
Okay.
And I'm like pretty much 100% certain that it's not going to be plain text.
Okay, we'll see. Maybe there's nothing in there.
Okay, so I'm going to change my database variable to the key 4 location
Mhm.
instead of the places. And let's go ahead and look at the tables that are in there. All right, so we got NSS private. Let's go with this. Yeah, NSS private. It's the largest table.
Yeah, it's got a lot of entries. 448.
So let's go select star from NSS private. I'm not used to this keyboard. Whoa.
Cryptic.
Very cryptic.
Okay, I'm pleased by that though, because if that was just all your passwords, A, we would have to, you know, find some way to censor that, and B, yeah, no, that's okay. So Firefox, good for you. Thank you for making it so we can't just arbitrarily query this database. And sorry, Tim, if those are just base 64 passwords.
They can't be
Yeah,
base
I
64
figured not.
passwords. Is that it?
No, there's something on the bottom. But yeah, see,
Oh, yeah.
all that stuff.
That's strange. I also don't even know if I have any passwords saved on Firefox. So.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Did you create a login?
Yes, I did though. So
Okay.
what would the query be for me? First, I need to change, if you want to change
The
to my-
database variable. So when you assigned it, go back down. I think.
I would love to, but we're still. All right.
Oh, go up. Go. You passed it, I think. Oh, one more. There you go. Change instead of places.sqlite, do key 4.
Key 4.
Mm-hmm. And then now go back up to invoke. Do that. Instead of select a star from.
I need to just delete all this stuff.
Yeah.
Select star.
Star from NSS private. Private with a capital P.
NSF.
NSS?
NSF. Wait.
SS.
NSS.
As in snake.
Thanks. Like that?
Uh-huh.
Hates it.
Select star from NSS.
Maybe it doesn't exist. We tried to search for
Go ahead and instead of select blah blah blah, just type in pragma stats.
Okay. Oops.
Yeah, SQL's got to be all caps. I'm not sure if that's true anymore, but it used to be. Oh, you only have that one. Just look inside that one. See what's in there.
Okay.
So amend your select from instead of NSS private. Just do that one. All right. Well, it looks like there's. Wait, how is that possible?
Does it? Yeah, it says that there's 88. What? What? Did I do this wrong?
No, I don't think so.
Query. Whoa. Select star from SQLite master.
Let me try it. Let me try it on mine.
Yeah. I mean, I went through and I created a couple just like passwords and stuff, but I just wanted to see if it was possible to dump them.
I forgot what the thing was called. Select star from SQLite.
While you're doing that, I'm definitely not. Just
No,
cat.
mine definitely had a thing.
Yours had a thing?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, well, I mean, I tried to just straight up cat mine, and it wasn't even doing anything.
Oh, maybe. Well, I mean, I know you just recently installed Firefox, so it probably has something to do with that.
Oh, wait, oh no, I guess it would be there. That's odd. That's very strange. Oh well. Either way, it's interesting that we can see it, but I'm glad that we can't see everything.
Yes, agreed.
All right,
Agreed.
so I do in fact like this. What's the next step?
The next step is to go back into PowerShell ISE. And let's create a script that allows us to, without having to copy the path, without having to write a custom query, we just give it a simple command and we say, hey, look for history and see if this URL exists.
Okay, cool.
So it basically takes out all of the heavy lifting. So if we want to do this repeatedly, or if we want to go on another person's computer and quickly do this, it'll allow us to reuse it.
Cool.
Okay, so the fundamental thing we're going to be doing is creating a function. So, you know, a lot of people I'm sure know about functions, but a function is just like basically a self-contained piece of code that you can reuse that takes a number of inputs and does it's a very vague explanation, but it can take inputs and it does a very specific specialized thing. It's like kind of like a fundamental group of code.
Right, right.
Okay, and then we're going to name the function, so I'm just going to name mine get history. I'm following the PowerShell convention by a verb and then a dash and then a...
All right, all right. I'll try to remember that.
Let's see if I can enlarge the size. Can I just like... Yes.
Nice. I love
Cool.
that.
Okay. Function get history. Going to open it up into its own body of text, which you can just surround with curly brackets. And then we're going to use this thing called commandlet binding.
Is that a tab or?
It's surrounded by two square brackets.
Right, but you're is that a tab or just spaces?
Oh, does it matter?
Well, I guess not. All right, cool.
Please don't tell me it matters.
I hope not. I was just checking.
Oh, no, it doesn't matter. The commandlet binding basically allows us to use this function as a commandlet. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Okay.
And then in order to go find your history, first it needs to import the module. So we're going to do ps sqlite. And then we're going to create our variable where database equals, we have to go back and copy that horrible, horrible path. Now, since everyone's .default folder has a different name, there is a way where you can like go through, see what it's named, anything named .default, and then insert that into the path to make it more make the script being able to be used across a large number of devices. But for today's sake, I think we're just going to copy our path so that we can use it on our machine.
Okay. I just copied ours.
All right. Not that. Yes. Right. There we go. All right, now that we got that. So we're kind of like moving through each step we did when we were in PowerShell. We're just going to do invoke SQL SQLite query. And what we can do is we can just have it print out everything, or if we want, we can give this function a parameter where you can search for like specific URLs.
Oh, interesting. So if you were looking for maybe a list of URLs or something like that, then you could like input a list or something like that?
Yeah, you could do that. I don't know if that's quite within the scope of today. But what I was thinking of, we could have this function be multi-purpose, where if you don't put in a parameter, it'll just print out all of the URLs you visited.
Okay.
But if you do, it'll only search for those and then print those out.
I only want to search for URLs that include the word Varonis.
Okay, well, let's make a function that can give you that option.
Cool, let's do it.
Okay, so right after commandlet binding, on the second line of your function, we have to use this param keyword, which is going to allow us to create a parameter for this function. We're going to have to tell it's a parameter, and we have to say, in order for us to give it the optional functionality of either searching something specific or of just printing out the whole database, we're going to say mandatory equals false. And then I'm going to call this parameter search.
Okay.
So I know there's kind of a bit of a syntax to get through there, but yeah, that's basically how you add a parameter. I did not spell invoke correct. So before invoke SQL light query, let's actually do an if clause that basically says if we created the search parameter. Data source, and then here we're just going to copy most of the invoke SQL query commandlet that we used. So it's going to be db and then query equals. Let's get rid of this. All right, this query is going to be a bit custom because what we're going to do is we're going to see if the URL contains the string in our search parameter. So we're going to say select URL from Moz places where, oh my god, it keeps wanting to go back to the beginning, where URL, like, bear with me with the syntax for a second. We're going to put it in quotes, or single quotes, and we're going to use this modulo symbol, which is kind of like an asterisk, but inside SQL, so it's the wild card. Okay. So it'll show us results of our search, even if it's not strictly just a string, but if it's contained somewhere within that string.
Got it. Does it go on both sides?
Yes, it does. So after that, another one, and then that, and then the end of the SQL query. And make sure you put your $sign too. Cool.
Cool.
Cool, cool, cool. And then else, if we don't provide it a search parameter, what it'll do instead is it will just invoke SQLite query. What I'm going to have it do is just basically print the whole database. So we can get the history of something specific, or we can just get the whole history. Query equals select star from Moz places. And that's it.
Okay.
So, I don't know what to call this. I'm just going to save this for my own benefit. You don't have to save it. Hopefully this works. Oh, the commandlet binding. Oh, I'll let you get done with that.
Okay. From Moz places, got it.
Up here at the top, where it says...
Oh, sorry, I just forgot to terminate this.
Where it says commandlet binding, after the G, you need it open parentheses, close parentheses. Inside the brackets, but after the G. Yeah, right there.
Like that? Or are those really verses?
Yeah, just regular
like
parentheses. Whoops, sorry about that.
Parentheses?
Yep, like it's a function.
Okay, cool.
All right, let's try to get this to work. Wait, why doesn't it let me run it?
Did you start it as an administrator?
Yes.
Just checking, just checking.
I will just run selection. Okay, now let's try it. Let's try it. That's not how you spell history. By itself. I spelled the word parameter wrong.
And I'm missing a closing curly brace in a statement block or type definition.
Does it say where?
That's my question. Does it say where?
Missing and curly brace. Your else statement.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, you just need to have one after that. Yep, that should be good. Okay, let's try redoing that. I'm going to clear this out. Let's redo. And let's try saying get history. Cannot process argument transformation on parameter. Cannot convert to type. Why does it want an integer? That makes no sense. Let's see if I search Google. Well, that's unfortunate.
What if we got rid of the fancier stuff? Is it? What if we like comment out the filter, the search function, and just make it so that it's just dumping the database?
Yeah, let's try that. I'm going to comment these. Oh, we just can't comment that. Comment commandlet binding, and then I'm just going to say if true. Oh. Oh, well, that's upsetting. Let me try just running this inside of the, First I have to import the module, so import module, I guess SQLite, that. Okay, now let me go back into PowerShell real quick and make sure that that works. Oh my gosh. How do I get rid of this endless... Wait, but we were just doing this.
Yeah.
Is there something wrong with my, We literally just did this. Oh, I know what I did wrong. I put an equal sign here. I swear that's it. There's no reason I should have put in. Okay. All right, let's just try get history now. There we go.
Okay.
It works.
All right.
Okay,
So,
it was just the equal sign. I'm so sorry, guys.
Syntax matters. And for everybody who I guess knows PowerShell that was screaming silently waiting for us to learn that, sorry.
I'm so used to like in an IDE coding with like a variable equal sign that I'm not used to having the command where like, like tac parameter and then the just directly going to the argument. Okay, so now that worked, let's try using it with our search function. I have to undo all of the dumb commenting that I did. Get history, search, Google. I don't even know if I went. Yeah, there you go. So I used the get history function that I created. I used the search argument that I made and just put in Google, and then it shows me all of the sites with the string Google.
Okay, I want to do that on mine. How?
Okay, let's go over to yours and
all
see
right.
what's wrong. All right, so let's see. Make sure that the assembly. Okay, so you also spelled parameter wrong?
Ah, that's good to know.
E-T-E-R.
Got it.
There we go. And then I think that should be it.
Let's try it. And then
Get history. Okay. Okay, you spelled mandatory wrong.
okay, all right. I don't need to get lectured by this computer. You know what I meant.
As you can tell, we suck at spelling.
Is this even right now?
Well, you still have an I in mandatory.
Fine.
Now try it. Hey, there you go.
Okay, cool. All right, so
try your search function, see if it works.
all right, so get history.
And you can search Varonis.
Search. Do I need to do tag
Quotes.
search?
Quotes,
Okay.
yes.
And then Varonis.
I'm very eagerly anticipating.
Whoa,
Hey,
that's
there
so
you
cool.
go.
All right, so I can see I did some Google searches. What is my Varonis? What to do when you're Varonis? I'm just gonna stop going through my searches. I'm very curious. But either way, okay, this is how we can use the scripting language to basically build a function that's able to dig through this database for us. So if we're just interested in any URL that happens to have the Varonis name in it, we can quickly just jump through and find it.
Yeah, and so now we use what we learned in PowerShell to, instead of having to go through, find the path of the SQLite, import the module, then type out some specific SQL query, we now have built in a function where we just need one function, and all we have to do is use the keyword search, and we can do all those commands, but all at once. Well, then I have to think about having to do all that nitty-gritty stuff again.
Okay, so I've got a question. Would this work against a remote database? Let's say that you had access to a database and you were building this script to be able to, just search through it. Would that work as well?
You could certainly do that with PowerShell, and you could use SQL, like SQL queries to do that. But obviously, the exact script we created relies on us navigating to a folder inside of our own computer. So you would probably have to first establish a connection, and then you could look for a database, and then on the remote computer you would go into it. But yeah, it's essentially the same thing. There's just a few more steps in terms of networking inside of the script. So, there might be some commands in here about making a connection or something. But essentially, yes, you could do that with these tools.
Interesting. Okay, well, could we do another arbitrary search?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so can we search through it for you? All right, go ahead and run your search.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So could we search for McNasty?
Okay, it's not going to come up with anything, but we can do it if you really want. Whoa,
what's happening? Oh, I'm sorry, Tim.
Oh my
God. Got you with the Ker Croc.
Oh my
That's
gosh,
beautiful.
Kody,
Okay.
you got me.
I'm sorry.
I hope you're satisfied.
Yeah, so earlier I set up, as far as I know, one of the first Ker Croc scripts that's designed to steal your Wi-Fi information. And what it does is it pops open a PowerShell window and it deletes all of your previously stored Wi-Fi passwords. So if you were to just have this glitch on your screen and suddenly you're not connected to Wi-Fi anymore and you want to just, maybe type that back in to get reconnected, I, as someone who's now intercepting your keystrokes, would have access to that. And of course, it was all kicked off by the word nasty.
Is that really how it works?
Yes, and also if you noticed, you backspaced on nasty because you misspelled it. So what it's actually able to do is this little thing. So this is the Ker Croc. I guess that's a pretty good way to wrap this up, I suppose, with the good prank. Okay. But yeah, so the, mind if I unplug it? So this is the Hack 5 Ker Croc, and we got one in about a week ago. They just launched this week. And next time we'll go into a little bit about what I just did. But I had this lying in wait, waiting for a specific key sequence. And what's cool about it is it'll trigger a payload depending on what you type. And if you set it up to do this, then you can also have it, just laying in wait to just, maybe you're waiting for a certain passwords, or not a password, so like a URL that you're expecting them to maybe type in a juicy password. Okay. You want to provoke them into disconnecting from something. Maybe you want to just lock them out of the computer so you get the computer's master password.
But once you type that key word in, they're going to know something is up.
Maybe. Or, there's a lot of things, like if I wanted to maybe have something that someone does as soon as they're about to walk away for a while.
Okay.
maybe I could have that wait 10 minutes and then trigger a script or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So there's like a lot of stuff you can do where, again, like let's say that you're just typing away and a certain keyword triggers you to just be locked out of your computer really quick. And maybe it's a word you don't use very often. So you wouldn't think it was keyed to the word. I would be able to capture your logging into your computer through the keylogger and be able to like trigger actions that require you to do logins, require you to authenticate stuff. And basically, instead of just passively keylog, I could like build in some traps where as soon as you were doing something that indicates, hey, maybe there's a password involved, I could like make it really hard to access your password manager. So you're copying and pasting, instead of just using the password manager securely, typing out passwords you wouldn't normally, or copying and paste them or something like that. So there's a lot of tricky stuff you can do with something laying in wait.
That sounds really cool. So cool, in fact, that I think it deserves its own video.
Yeah, so of course I don't have time to show you guys my Ker Croc script, but if you want to check me out on Twitter, I posted it there, and I think we'll cover it next time, in addition to some more cool PowerShell stuff. Yeah. So today, just to review, aside from pranking Tim and deleting all of his Wi-Fi passwords, sorry.
Wait, did you really delete all my Wi-Fi passwords?
No. Yeah, so aside from pranking Tim, pretending to delete all of his Wi-Fi passwords.
This is the second time this has happened.
It has happened twice, and I said I wouldn't do it again. Aside from that, we also learned how to take a piece of information that is in a SQL database and query it in creative ways, and even build our own function in this awesome PowerShell scripting ISE to be able to make it so we can easily query these databases no matter where we find them. It could be our database, we could be building a payload for maybe a human interface device like the Ker Croc, or maybe we are accessing a website that has an exposed database or isn't sanitizing its input, and we're able to put these SQL queries into it, and we're automating something there where we're dumping something really interesting for maybe a CTF or something like that, something totally innocent.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I guess that'll do it. Thank you guys again for joining us on another episode of Hacking with Friends. I know Tim and I have a lot of fun doing this. If you like these, you can always check them out on the Security Forward channel. It's youtube.com/c/securityfwd, Security Forward. We make sure we have all of those streams available for you to check out at any time, and we're growing really big, so please subscribe, and you'll be the first to know when we're about to go live. You can even subscribe to upcoming events that haven't yet gone live, so you'll know what they're about and can sign up if you're interested. Also, a big shout out to Veronis for making this possible. We really enjoyed doing the stream, so if we've made you at all paranoid or wanting to keep attackers like us out of your system, you should definitely check them out, because it's a good idea to assume that attackers are eventually going to get in and have smart and innovative ways of catching them. So again, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.